I placed this item on the agenda tonight in order to inform council that regarding the charge against me, that a plea of not guilty was entered on my behalf today. At the direction of my attorney, I'm at this time unable to answer questions or to comment further on this matter, and I want to thank you very much for your work.
What I am about to recommend is based on two beliefs regarding Mr. Hartsel's situation. The first is simply that under our American jurisprudence system, based on rights identified in our U.S. Constitution, a person is accused of any crime, large or small, is presumed innocent until proven guilty. And proven guilty in an appropriate court of law. Not tried in the newspaper, not tried in a blog, not tried in the court of public opinion, and not judged by knee-jerk reaction, gossip, or innuendo. Presumptive innocence simply means that Mr. Hartsel will, by right as an American citizen, remain innocent until proven guilty. It is also his constitutional right to be faced by his accuser to defend himself with the support of legal counsel. He is today an accused person, not a guilty person, and he will remain innocent until a judge or jury renders him otherwise by their verdict. These are the same rights that are held by every person here in this chamber tonight. My second belief is simply that the crime for which he has been accused does not render Mr. Hartsel either incapable or unfit to perform the city's work from now until the time when his innocence or guilt are established by our judicial system. Hudson is in the midst of making at least 3 significant equipment purchases, administering a number of sizable grants that will increase our revenues, and of drafting budgets for the upcoming year, among many other things. Mr. Hartsel's ability and commitment to continue performing these tasks has not been diminished by these legal accusations. To let that work simply go undone, or to pay another to do it, does not make sound fiscal sense. Therefore, I propose as a motion that Mr. Hartsel be permitted to continue his work as our city manager until our judicial system deems him either innocent or guilty, and that we postpone any final decision regarding his ongoing tenure in our employment until that event occurs.
I've been in touch with the city attorney to give us the pros and cons. He pretty much states the same thing as what Mr. Engle just said, that due prudence, we should let the justice system work. And we do have the option of the suspension right now, with or without pay. And I personally don't see that that would benefit the city at all.
I become increasingly alarmed by the nature of the public dialogue that has ensued since news of Mr. Hartsel's accusation became public knowledge. I have read blogs and letters and heard discussion that have tied 3 recent events in the public life of our community together as if they were tied together, when in fact they were not. I have heard sarcasm, vicious rumor, accusations of impropriety, lynch mob rhetoric, and light humor. I have read the document that purports to be the interview of Mr. Hartsel by a member of the Adrian Police Department. The document, copied extensively and passed around downtown Hudson, was almost like created a situation as if this community were in a blizzard and the document with the driven snow. It feels like we as a community are on an out-of-control train powered by a locomotive that can't be slowed or stopped. These 3 events have taken on a life of their own and feed on each other and our gossip and humor blogs. The simple truth that I want to make The simple point that I want to make is this. When accusations or ridicule are unfounded, when no opportunity for answer is afforded to the accused, and when the main purpose is simply to poke fun, then we need to remember that it is not one person who is accused or ridiculed. It is not one group. It is instead our whole community. Hudson has become the laughingstock of Lenawee and maybe southeastern Michigan and northwestern Ohio. Scurrilous attacks are attacks on all of us. And our reputation as a community is damaged when that happens. We are only 2,500 people here. In fact, we care about one another. We support one another. We work hard to make our community better. It is time, I think, to pray for healing. It is time for us to let go of the nastiness, no matter how gleeful, and focus on stopping the train. It is time to become Christian again and to learn to forgive, to understand, to help, to do unto others as we would have them do unto us.
I worked for 31 years for state government, my last 20-some years as an investigator for internal disciplinary problems with state employees in the Department of Corrections. Okay? As a public agency, you have a responsibility to the safety of your community, to uphold the ordinances and laws of the state. An employer is not bound on an administrative decision to rule beyond a reasonable doubt in an employment case. You have to rely on a preponderance of evidence. In our case, I can only relate what our experience was of when one of our staff was accused of a criminal act. They could be suspended pending the outcome of the investigation and the trial, placed on administrative leave or unpaid leave for the appearance of what could cause a lack of public trust for the agency or the safety of the person or the staff themselves.
As Mr. Engle stated, this is a very serious and hot topic, and I would just hope that the general public allows us to do our due diligence in dealing with this situation. One rash decision does not bode well for another.
Dr. Borck referred to the fact that the general public would allow us to do what we're doing. My personal feeling is the general public is allowing us to do what we're doing. That it's a small segment of people who have an axe to grind, who are really grinding it. And the rest of the folks out in the community are saying, the little comments that I hear are, there's a problem, but it doesn't seem to be with the person who's accused. My friends in Adrian, they aren't laughing at us. They're saying, what in the name of heaven are you doing, beating this thing to death? And that's my personal feeling. I don't see any great masses out here who are, and every day I ask the Lord, and I saw someone turn their eye when Mr. Engle said, turn to Christianity. It's not a bad idea. Every day I ask the Lord that I not harm anyone physically, mentally, or spiritually. And may they have the same regard for me. And I'm going to continue that prayer. And there is a pastor in attendance here who can tell you that I went to him and I asked him to pray for all of you. Those that I feel are causing a problem and those who are in the midst of terrible problems. And that's it. And that's why, Dennis, I couldn't say anything about priorities. I am so consumed with whatever, and it's probably because I'm a lady and not a man. I just wanna scream. And I read one of the scriptures that I like. I screamed unto the Lord. And the Lord will hear me. And that's my recommendation to you. You go home and you get on your knees and you talk to God. And you listen to Him. And what you really do is that you be still and know that I am God.
I worked with Steve ever since he came to town. And I want to remind that, I was raised, we were not to criticize, judge, or condemn anybody. This is nothing but a witch hunt. It's just a one person's revenge. Who here was at that intersection? Anybody? Anybody here? Any of you guys at the intersection?
Hey,
Or
council.
Okay. So what I want to know is, that police report means nothing to me. What about innocent until proven guilty? And to say she saw what she saw? Obviously, they've never had teenagers like mine. Because when you get hounded and hounded and hounded until you just can't take it anymore, that's the same thing as saying, whatever. It's the same thing. No one here is innocent. We are all guilty of something. But Mr. Hartsel, Steve, has never, ever been inappropriate to us girls or anybody else in this community at all. Ever. In the end, we will all be judged by our Maker, and I feel so sorry for you who don't understand what this life is about. We are here to learn from each other, to teach and love one another, to help each other up when we are down, to have so much hatred that you are willing to destroy this town. Where's this going to end? If you let Steve go, this council needs to also put in drug testing for the fire department. And what about for all city employees should be drug tested. And maybe even tested for alcohol, because if you're driving one of these trucks that's hundreds of thousands of dollars, it's still against the law to drink and drive. So let's talk about the offensive. Do you think boys' butt cracks are offensive? I do. I don't want to see it. I don't think these girls ought to be walking around half naked. Are you going to ticket them all? Where's it going to end? I saw a man peeing outside months ago. I'm not going to call the police to say, hey, you got to go catch this guy. Where do we stop? What lines are we willing to cross for the sake of getting even? Who of us are willing to look the other way just because you're afraid of being harassed by the other residents? Who of us are willing to stand up for what is right and what is true? I am pleading, begging for all of you to stop this witch hunt, because that's what it is.
I just have one question for you guys. You're going to let a man stay in his position that he's in, being the predicament he's in? What about the innocent until proven guilty? What about Brian? You took the word of one man and canned Brian. Right back to innocent until proven guilty. Did anybody ever prove Brian guilty?
No one should be persecuted before being prosecuted, but that doesn't seem to be the case here. I'm appalled by so many people that are narrow-minded hypocrites. I have worked with Mr. Hartsel for the last 14 months and have found he is very knowledgeable in all aspects of his job. He has always conducted himself as a professional and nothing less. What did or did not happen, frankly, is none of my business. And it has nothing to do with his ability to be the best manager this city has had in years, maybe decades. He is an asset to the city office as well as the city as a whole. It would be detrimental to the city of Hudson if we were to lose Mr. Hartsel as our city manager. My high opinion of him will not waver. Thank you.
To be honest, I didn't come here to Jason Perry, Cantril, Iowa, and that's a big part of it. I mean, I'm not here every day of the week, let alone every week in the month. But here's what I face as we are business owners, as we talked about, just a little over 3 months ago. Some points were brought up at that time that, over the purchase of the park and things that way, that was in the best interest of the city. We want to bring business to the city. Mr. Engle, He made a lot of points tonight about, laughing stock, things like that, stopping the locomotive. Well, guess what? We got to look away from this gentleman as being not only a friend, a relative, a co-worker, or anything else. Look at it as, allegedly, if that was your daughter in the vehicle next to him, your mother, your grandmother, anything that way. If we're praying for people, we also have to pray for the victims out there. There's a justice system for criminals, but there's also a justice system for victims. There's a reason for that, and there's two sides to that as well. I didn't come here to comment on that. I just wanted to see how things would go, but I know a lot of this is coming at me like I'm the big proponent of, riling the city up and things that way. I was never involved with the fire chief or anything that way. I never came here. I've never had any talk with that gentleman, nor have I had any talk with you guys since the park situation. But I feel that there is a locomotive that's steaming out of control, and any type of bad press for this community doesn't help businesses prosper. People are laughing, not only in the county, but like Mr. Engle said, the region. The Detroit radio stations are talking about this. And to me, as a business person, before something comes and rolls through my business, I'm going to stand in front of it and stop it. And you have a chance to do that. In Mr. Hartsel's contract, it's written there. Cause has been made based on a police report that was obtained from the city of Adrian to remove him with administrative pay, at the very least. If you take out all the accusations and you read the fact that Mr. Hartsel said, who's going to find out about this? Is the council going to find out about it? That's the only information I have to go by, is a police report that's provided to the public. And if you read that police report, there is cause to remove until, the trial does play itself out, and hopefully, for Mr. Hartsel's sake, for the city's sake, he is found guilty, and this was all just a hullabaloo over nothing. But until that time, I think you guys need to stand up and, stop the ridiculousness that's going on. That's the way you do it. You don't let it keep steaming, keep boiling. People are going to be upset. I don't think he should be, sat down and said, no money, you're done. Let the law play itself out, but remove him from the situation. I don't know how long that process is going to take, but I think, that's the right move.
I have nothing against this gentleman at all. I have not read the newspaper article that you're talking about. I have not heard the gossip in this town. I've only seen a very short article that was in one of our very local papers. All I am concerned about is our community and what it looks like to everyone else. It hurts me very deeply because I am 8th-generation family here. I want our city to be a strong, united area that helps other people. Right now, we don't look like that. And it's going to take a long time to ever get it back.